of all, thank you for joining us. I'll keep admitting people as we go. I don't know if you hear that ding, but I do. My name is Angie Spears, and I am the principal at Knapp Charter Academy. You're in my basement with me because it's the quietest place in my house. We can't always count on the dog and the girls not interrupting, and I think all of us have adapted to this new normal. But I'm excited to have you joining us to talk about kindergarten and young fives particularly, and just some of what you can expect and what you can look forward to for next year. I have the privilege of being the principal, but really the team that knows the most is going to talk to you tonight. Our kindergarten team and Mrs. Huckabee are here to tell you about kindergarten and just the things you need to know and what you can get excited about and wait for next year. I wanted to share just quickly some news about kindergarten and young fives and just some reminders. So we are excited. You guys are probably the first audience I've really shared this with, but we are excited that next year we are going to be able to add a second young fives classroom. So that means we're going to have 2 young fives classrooms and 3 kindergarten classrooms. We're excited for lots of reasons. My biggest reason for being excited is just I feel like having 2 young fives classrooms is going to provide us the opportunity to build a really strong foundation for our students. So if you're considering young fives or kindergarten, our team is going to talk through some of that, but please feel free to talk to us about it. It's a hard decision sometimes, and so I just want to share with you that we are really, really excited that we're going to add another young fives classroom. And then I wanted to give the reminder of how do you know, like, what's the birthday rule and how do you know if it's young fives or kindergarten? Honestly, there's no magic. It's really individual. So I can tell you the guidelines, but really it's important to think through your child and where they are developmentally and where they are with, all their different learning targets, and then make that decision. And we can help you with that if you're not sure or conflicted. Talk to the team, individually, email us or call Mrs. Huckabee and we can have that discussion with you. But the guidelines are students to be in kindergarten, they need to be 5 by December 1 of, this December really, but, next fall. So that is the guideline, 5 by December 1. But we recommend often, not always, again, every child's an individual. If they have a summer or fall birthday, we often recommend young fives, just because they can grow. The big thing in young fives, and they're going to talk about this, but they can grow socially with their peers, and they're going to learn some of those foundational skills. So I can just share from my own experience. I had a fall birthday daughter, and I did not do young fives. It was years ago, and young fives was new, and I just wasn't sure. And she's fine. She's in high school, but I do often think, what if I had done young fives? I think it would have been better for her developmentally. I think she would have, instead of being the youngest in the class always, she would have been one of the older ones in the class, which I think could have been a benefit. So I guess I'm a big proponent of young fives because I'm on the other end of maybe I didn't quite get it right. And she's fine. She's going to be okay. But I do think it's something you should consider. So welcome to Knapp. Welcome to the enrollment night. I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Huckabee, but please know anytime you have questions, I'm always available. I love to support parents as much as I love to support kids and teachers. I think it's part of the journey, and especially as you're just starting out, it's okay to have questions and to call even for silly things that you think, oh, maybe I shouldn't call. I'm glad to help you walk through it. So again, my name is Angie Spears, and I'm the principal at Knapp. Thanks for joining us.
Well, good evening, and thank you for being here tonight. My name is Carrie Huckabee, and I have the joy and privilege of serving as the Dean of the Young Fives through 2nd grade. I'll tell you, I work with some of the most amazing people, and I would like to introduce you to 3 of them that are here with us tonight, our kinder teachers. And when I call your name, if you would wave, it's Christina Gibson and Angela Rubio and Abby Christian. And they are a dynamite team. So, as a parent, I have 4 children, and I always want to know, like, when I put my child at at a school, a preschool, or anything I decided, what is that place all about? So, you know what, words mean a great deal to us. And so I thought I would begin the night by sharing some things that the children have said. I love asking the students what their thoughts are or how they see things. One, it's adorable, and two, they're pretty insightful. So I thought I would show you not just what they said, but how they said it. So the question was, what are some things that your teacher says to you? And what kind of made me chuckle even more was that they didn't even hesitate when you catch them in the hallway and you ask them. They immediately know. And the things as a parent, I would love to know, like, what did your teacher say? How did they go? What did you do? They always say nothing. But so I said, all right, tell me, what are some things that your teacher said to you? And they say, this is one of my favorites. She said to me today, just like this, she said to me today, you can do it. Use all my effort. And I said, all right. So the next child comes down the hallway and we talk a little bit. And I say, what does your teacher say to you today? She says, be respectful and kind, but after I do things I shouldn't be doing. And then I was like, okay. And of course, he walked quickly away to the bathroom. My office is right by the bathroom, so you don't have to answer anymore. Some of them that I loved hearing was, work hard, you can do it. You are a reader. And one of my favorites actually was even today. She said, if I do not like my carrots that are in my lunch, I should not throw them away. If I throw them away, my mom will not know that I do not like carrots. So she told me to put them in my lunch pail so she knows I really hate them. So I thought, that's pretty smart. Teacher shares that. So tonight, you know what? I want you to get to know us a little bit and what we're all about. And one of those things to start us off, Christina's going to share the slide, is our hope and plan for our students. We love them dearly and we want them to keep growing, but we also want them to know who they are. And Christina, Miss Gibson, wrote this, and we thought we would share this with you from our students actually saying it themselves. All right, can you all hear that? We're going to do something. Yes, thumbs down. That's what we do, right? Christina, do you have that right there that you can read that? Because you know what? These words are powerful and words mean a great deal to us.
I don't have my dual monitor, so I don't think it knows what to do when I'm sharing a screen. So yes, I will read it to you. So I can't see you at the very moment, but I will read it to you. Okay. So it says, I am a Knapp Charter Academy student. I strive to achieve academic excellence. I exemplify high moral character. I work to prepare myself for the future. I know my success in school and in life depends on my own effort. I work hard. I dream big. I am strong. I am powerful. I am intelligent. I am important. I can and I will change the world for the better because I am a Knapp Charter Academy student. And so this mantra I teach to my students. We say it back to each other every day. And I want those words to resonate with them so that when they're in a situation that's hard, they remember who they are. So we talk about speaking positively to yourself and giving yourself positive self-talk. And these words really, they feel them, they use them, you will hear them say it to each other. Remember, you work hard. You remember, you're intelligent. So they use them in their everyday conversations with each other and with me. And I can refer that to them, that same mantra every day. And they know what I mean when I say that I work hard.
Well, that's kind of a quick picture, a snapshot of who we are, who we want our students to be, and how much we care and love for them. So we're going to work through some slides, and the teachers are going to share some information with you that's going to be very valuable in making your decision. And just so you know, we'll have questions at the end, but that's not the only time you can ask questions. Go ahead and get a hold of us at school. Nothing makes us happier than talking about what we love so much. So Christina, go ahead.
All right, I'm going to apologize for the fact that you're going not to see it in a slideshow format. It's going to be what you're seeing is what I'm seeing, because my computer does not like the fact that there's not another double monitor to help me out. So I will go ahead and kind of click through this with you. So here we are. We're going to talk about the differences between Young Fives and kindergarten. So Young Fives is designed as a year of social and academic growth in preparation for the rigorous amount of work that we're doing in kindergarten. So kindergarten looks very different than when I went to school, when you went to school, right? Often I'll hear parents say, I had no idea they were going to learn this much in kindergarten. They're reading, and I can't believe it. I thought they'd wait till first grade, or I thought they would be doing this in second grade. And they watch them like start to grow and flourish, and they just are like amazed by it. So Young Fives is different in that it's allowing them time to improve their fine motor skills, to increase their attention span, and for the expectations that we are expecting as kindergarten teachers to already come in with, right? And then Young Fives also allows them to become familiar with like routines and procedures that we would normally expect in kindergarten right away. Kindergarten focuses more on rigorous academics, and we still incorporate social and emotional and motor skills, but a lot of those things are going to be assumed that they are already having experience with and that they're comfortable with, right? I actually taught Young Fives for 8 years at Knapp before teaching kindergarten. So if you have questions about that, I'm probably the best to ask about that because I've taught both. But it really gives them the gift of a year. It gives them the gift of time to decide, you know, maybe they just need more interaction, or maybe they're on the shyer end. Maybe they don't have as much fine motor experience. Maybe the letters, knowing the letters and the sounds don't come so readily to them. They just need the gift of time. And so that's what Young Fives is great for, because in kindergarten, we're going to make the assumption that some of those things are already in place. If they're not, then we do make accommodations and things like that, but we need for them, in order to make it to what they need to be able to know to go into kindergarten and first grade and be successful, we have to make sure that those rigorous standards are met. And so part of that is being able to be academically and socially ready for school. So a typical Young Fives day starts at the same time. Circle time, calendar, reading, street, and zoophonics is the curriculum that they use to teach reading skills in Young Fives, followed by a snack, some type of social studies or science. The kindergarten or the Young Fives teacher chooses a theme for what they're learning about. So that could be penguins, that could be dinosaurs, and it's not what you would think would be preschool. So what you see in preschool of like a theme, I want you to think differently. Think expanded, because it's not like you probably have had your kids go to preschool and they're like, yeah, we learned about dinosaurs this week. Yes. However, the standards are tied with that. And it just gives us like almost like a string to hold them all together to give the kids like a focus, but it's definitely more rigorous than what you would get at a preschool. Okay. So there's a theme that Mrs. Bishop would choose that they would be learning about that week. And then it might be as simple as like the math, they're talking about dinosaurs, so they're using dinosaurs to do math. It doesn't necessarily mean that everything is encompassed in that theme, but a lot of the things will try to tie into it just to give a focus. Then there's lunch and recess. They do still have quiet time, just a time to rest, because it is a long day for them. And then math and writing. They do have special gym, music, library, and art. I don't recall whether or not they have Spanish now. I'm not sure if they do. I don't remember. Nope. Okay. So then they would have snack and some sort of recess center time, which would be more of the exploratory, very guided, and sometimes in a free choice manner. So both ways. But so they're getting some of those center activities, reading and writing and math as well during those times. That's typically what your Young Fives day would encompass. Let's see. I'm skipping these here because we'll have a different night for Young Fives just to kind of go over it. But Miss Christian, do you want to go over? I should be able to present since I'm not talking. So, Ms. Christian, if you want to go ahead and talk about kindergarten day.
Yes, of course. So this is kind of what a typical day in kindergarten would look like. It starts at 8 a.m. just like Young Fives, and we begin with table time, which is kind of where they have a worksheet at their table. A lot of our students will eat breakfast as that's provided. Then we move to like reading and phonics and reading comprehension. So those letter sounds, but also then understanding and what I read, what happened in the story, and different skills like that. We focus on a new one each week. Then they have recess. We have small reading groups where we just kind of split our kids up into groups on what they need and focus on those special needs that they need. Then we have writing and handwriting, lunch at 11:05, recess, math stories. Math stories is like story problems, math, science, or social studies. And we have specials, gym, music, library, art, Spanish, and technology, recess and snack, and then drive line at 2:55. You might have to unmute, Angela.
I was thinking you were going. Hi, I'm Angela Rubio. I'm another kindergarten teacher, and a lot of our curriculum is shown here on the slides. So for language arts, the students practice every week their letter sounds, which is very important. With NHA, we give them a progress monitoring assessment once a week, and their goal in kindergarten, believe it or not, is to say 46 letter sounds in a minute. And we continue to work on that skill with them every single week. And when they master that, then they go on to reading passages to us. And that's, I believe, 30 words in a minute. And it's amazing what they can do. So we work on that very rigorously, letter sounds. We also work on rhyming with the kids, blending sounds, like CVC sounds to read words. Writing, we all use writing journals, and where the students will incorporate like their sight words that we teach them into their writing sentences. We have a specialized handwriting program that we use, and we used to use Handwriting Without Tears, and now it's Xander Mifflin, I believe, something like that. So it's a really good handwriting book to help the students be able, with great fine motor skills and proper handwriting technique. With math, we use the Bridges math program. And in kindergarten, it's structured a lot on writing their numbers, counting, sequencing. We do a lot with addition and subtraction. Our shapes are in there. We focus on 2D and 3D shapes. We do a lot of sorting too. Different kinds of sorting, and then a lot of the math stories. We do a math story a day in there. Sorry guys. With science, we have a lot of units. We work on animals unit, a 5 senses unit, weather, force, and motion. And in social studies, we kind of rotate. We do science for a couple of weeks, social studies for a couple of weeks. And in social studies, the students learn about school rules, community, school expectations, economics unit we have, and a mapping unit. Ms. Gibson, you want to take this one because I'm going to come right back.
I know I'm muted. I figured that out. I am the virtual teacher. Hello. Okay. So pre-COVID, we took field trips. So we'll talk about what we have done in the past. In the past, we have gone to the apple orchard in the fall when we learn about the life cycle of pumpkins and apples. Okay. And so we'll usually do that. And then at the end of the year, we will take a trip to John Ball Zoo, where we have spent time on a unit talking about the different animal groups and learning about them. And then we go to the zoo to explore those animals in real life. Let's see. All right. Parent involvement. course, we love having parents involved. Obviously, with COVID and the restrictions and like that, that has changed some, having parents in the building. But we'll talk about what we normally do, right? Because we're going to be hopeful that these things will go back into place as they go. We love having volunteers, right? In any shape or capacity. A lot of times that can look like volunteering for a class trip, volunteering to fill out fill folders for us for things that go home. It could be us giving you stuff to do at home, like cut these things out for me. I laminated them. Can you cut them out? Being a lunch parent, we've done that in the past where parents would come in and spend time with the kids for lunch because our lunch is their lunchtime. So lots of different ways you can get involved. All of us teachers send home something within the first couple of weeks that say, hey, how would you like to volunteer? And then you kind of tell us what you're interested in doing. And then from there, we can make a schedule or things of that sort. I know all of us are flexible and we love it when a parent's like, I have tomorrow off. Can I come? Yes. Yes is the answer. Because we love that your kids love to see you in there. And we love to have an extra person to kind of help through things. And there's lots of things that we have come up that you could be a person that's helping with, practicing with some other kids of letter sounds that they need some extra practice, coming in to be an extra hand, all that sort of thing. So of course we love parent involvement for sure. All right, Angela, do you want me to go over prepping for kindergarten or would you like to? You're muted, but.
I'm the oldest one on the team by far, and technology is not my forte, so I apologize. Okay, so preparing for kindergarten. So please, 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 please have your child practice writing his or her first name with a capital letter, the first letter being capitalized, the other letters lowercase. Letter sounds. Letter identification is very important. Letter recognition is important, but letter sounds probably trumps that. And so practicing their letter sounds is very crucial and important to helping them be successful in kindergarten. It just really helps them with that progress monitoring that we do every week. And then the faster that they can say those sounds, the sooner they're able to blend CVC words, consonant, vowel, consonant words, and then they're reading sentences just like that. So practice their letter sounds. Also have them practice counting to 20 or higher if possible and identifying numbers. And not just always have your child start at 1 and count on, but have, you choose a different number like 8 and have them continue to count on, because that is a skill and on our math assessments that, the kids don't really think about, and parents don't think about it either. And I didn't either. I always had them start at 1 and count on. But when you have them count from a random number and keep going, that just really strengthens their math skills as well. Identifying numbers is very, very important. And when you have them identify, scramble up those numbers. Don't have them just start at 1, because that's an easy memorization skill. Scramble up those numbers, use flashcards, shuffle the flashcards, show them to the kids and have them practice identifying numbers. And not just 1 through 10, but teen numbers as well and decade numbers. Please allow your child to practice using scissors at home. It's such an awesome fine motor skill. And they'll be great with it. And there's so many things that they can cut besides just paper. There's Play-Doh, noodles that you want to cook, and they can cut those. It just really helps strengthen their fine motor skills. And, you're having the proper hand grip in their scissors with a thumb on top is very, very important and helpful for them. Having them experience plenty of fine motor activities, not just scissor cutting, but something as easy as using like tweezers and picking up beads with it and moving them from one spot to another is very beneficial too. Zipping, buttoning, snapping, all of those fine motor skills really help them out a ton. That goes right along with practicing putting on their coat, shoes, backpacks, and zipping their zippers, especially now in the winter The kids know that if they beat that timer, they get more recess time outside to have fun. So that, you know, always involves them being more independent and zipping up their coat, putting on their snow pants, tying their shoes, things like that really help them become really successful. And practice being responsible with his or her things. They will all have a cubby in our classrooms that can hold their things, but just teaching them that responsibility piece so that they know where their things belong. We don't have desks in kindergarten or young fives, we have tables. So they do have a cubby space, and then there's like another space where they have like their book boxes to hold their things. So practicing, you know, keeping them in a certain place all the time and going back to that will really help them. And then just reading with your child, reading with them, showing them, you know, using their reading finger underneath the words is a really beneficial skill. And just talking about the stories with your child, talking about the character development, sequence, first, next, last, let's see, setting. We even get into as deep as like cause and effect relationships with kindergarten students. Just having those conversations with your kids when you read to them is very, very helpful and will help prepare them for kindergarten.
So one thing I wanted to reiterate was the letter sounds. I think often I have conversations with parents about what that means. It's very different for your child to be able to say the ABCs or sing the ABCs than it is to be able to know the sounds. Like, we know it's important for them to know it's an A, but I'd rather them know it says A, right? And so, and it's not in the same order. Okay, because they will often see letters out of order, and we learn them not in the sequential order of the ABCs. So you want to make sure that they can see a C, know that's K, right? And that they can see that. And yes, we want to know the letter sound, but I will often refer when I'm reading with kids, like, you put a B and I need a D. So I often will use the sounds versus the letters. So please make sure that just the ABCs or saying them will not be sufficient. You have to make sure that you are isolating those actual sounds and knowing what they are. And one other thing to reiterate, they love to be independent. So we know that kids, it's often, I'm a mom too, it's often easy to be like zipping it for them or getting their shoes on for them. And we understand that, but we also have, 20 something other bodies doing the same. And so that is from us to you of a please and thank you to teach them to do those independent things. And that means even independently being independent about making sure their Chromebook is in their backpack or things of that nature, right? Only because we often can't be in every little place. And so if we can see that they can be independent to do that thing, you have never seen a kid get more excited when they're like, I know how to zip my coat. Like, when they finally figure it out and they don't need you for those things, they absolutely love that. So the more you can say, like, I want you to try, because we'll be saying those same exact things to them very, very often. Enrollment process. So I'll go ahead and play that for you, Angela, or Angie, or Carrie.
All right, well, I can jump in here. So as you can see, to get started, the applications are due by February 26th to be included in the lottery. The lottery is March 5th. Accepted packages, email home, and need to be returned in 2 weeks. They got a checklist here for you. Have your immunizations up to date. Make those doctor's appointments if you still need to have that happen. Kindergarten screening. We are hoping to be able to be on the other side of COVID and be able to do that. And then as the waiting list comes up, as soon as there's an opening, you will get a call. And of course, we love it when you meet us. We love it when you tour. I know Amy takes you around the building, and nothing makes me happier than meeting you in the hallway personally and meeting your child. Often they're very shy and act like they don't want to be there, but we know differently. And so if you have any questions after tonight, though, That's why we're here. We're here to help you, teach you about Knapp, teach you about kindergarten. You know, is your child, do you feel more comfortable with young fives, kindergarten? We understand what it's like to have a lot of questions, and we have no problem answering them. So we are here for you, and we just thank you so much for sharing tonight with us. And we look forward to hopefully meeting you and your precious children. I said children, so if you have more than one, we'd like to have them all at Knapp. All right.
I can go ahead and talk about kindergarten screening if you want me to. Okay, so hopefully this spring we will be able to have kindergarten and young five screening. The date is still to be determined, but we're really hoping that we're going to be able to meet in person to do that for each child, or maybe even virtually. That might look a little bit different. We'll have to see. So some of the things that we do during kindergarten and young five screening, the assessment includes quite a few things: literacy, math, fine motor, language, and social emotional piece of development. So some of the assessments that we have the students take, and what we do is we pull them like one-on-one with us. So I work with one student, and I'll have him or her write upper and lowercase letters and identify upper and lowercase letters for us. And of course, they're all out of order. They're not in ABC order. So it's more rigorous for them, and we'll show them letters and ask them to say letter sounds, as many as they can. We'll also ask them to count for us, to do some rote counting orally for us so that we can see how far they can count to, and number recognition. There will be numbers that are all out of order, and ask them to identify numbers. And one-to-one correspondence as well. We have an activity where we use like some bears, and we have them count bears for us. Like we might have a bowl of bears, and I'll say, okay, Sarah, can you please pull out these bears and count them in front of me? And so they just have to manipulate the bear and take the bear out of the bowl and count and keep counting. So that shows us if the child has a good grasp of one-to-one correspondence, which is really important for kindergarten. And then we also ask them to draw a self-portrait of themselves. And we encourage them, you know, to include a lot of details in their self-portrait. And then they get to talk about it and describe it to what they drew. And then some cutting skills. We have the students use some child size scissors and having them cut straight lines, jagged lines, curved lines, so we can see how their fine motor is developing as well. So that takes, I don't know, what do you think, Christina? Maybe like less than 30 minutes probably for each
I'd say around
child?
the 20 minutes or so, depending on the child. If they're struggling through it, we can suspend some of those things if we're seeing that we don't need a break or things like that. It kind of just depends. Like we're people they don't know, so often it takes a little bit for them to just warm up to us, and then before you know it, they're talking and having a conversation with us. One other thing with screening that we do is we give you a parent survey to fill out to kind of let us get to know your child, and not just the basic of like how old they are. Yes, that's important and that's on there, but more of like how do they interact with others? What do they do in conflict? All of those sorts of things, just to kind of see, is this something socially kind of where they are, because you know them best. And then we also send out and give you a survey to give to the preschool of which your child is attending. So they can give us their perspective on their literacy, their math, their social skills. And then we can take all of those things along with the assessment, your piece and the preschool piece, to decide what's the best placement for them. That way it gives us a complete picture of your child. So using those three components, and then as a team, we meet and kind of make some of those decisions and give you the best advice we can about where they'd be best fit.
All right, well, we're ready for some questions. So if you have some, here's the time. Ask the experts.
Hi, I have a 5-year-old and for kindergarten. How does the lottery process actually work?
I'll answer that one, I guess. I'll jump in. Sorry, I wasn't sure. So the lottery process, you have to have your application in on time, by that February 26th. And so then it's really a randomized draw. So it's all computerized. I've been doing this a long time. So, in old days, it was on paper. It was like a drawing. Now it's all computerized. So all the names go in, and then it's just a randomized process where they are drawn. It is random. However, there is sibling preference. So I will give you that piece. If you have a child who's already attending Knapp, and now you've applied for another student, that child will be considered for sibling preference. So those names are drawn first. Siblings get drawn first, and they go in order. And again, it's all computerized, so it comes out in a nice fancy spreadsheet. And then everyone else who's applied then is then drawn next. So it depends on each grade level, how many seats we have available. Like I said, we have 2 young 5s next year, so we're really excited about having extra seats available there. And then if we have more people apply, then we have seats available, then there is the possibility that you could be put on the waiting list. But I would say if you're on the waiting list, don't give up. There's lots of movement over the summer, even in the spring right after the lottery. So, and maybe you're in this position too. Several families, they apply to multiple schools. Either they're not sure where they want to go, or they're nervous about not getting in. And so they might get into a couple schools and then have to make their decision. Well, that's going to change our waiting list, right? So if they decide they want to go somewhere and not Knapp, well, then that would move you up on the waiting list, right? So you're in a queue, basically, waiting in line. But there's lots of movement, especially, young 5s in kindergarten, because families are deciding which school they want to land in.
Okay. That's my big.
Does that help?
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
Go ahead, Ashley. I saw you raising your hand.
I was trying to find the mute.
I know.
The kindergarten assessment, is that to determine, or the kindergarten screening, is that to determine if like young 5s when they're ready to move to kindergarten, or whether they are ready for kindergarten or should go to young 5s? I guess I'm wondering when that's done.
It's done before kindergarten or young 5s would start, and we screen young 5s and kindergarten students. So it just gives us an idea of where they are, and we can take all of that information to decide if we would recommend for them to go to young 5s or kindergarten, because we want them to be the most successful, right? And we want to give them the gift of time if we can. And I think often too, it helps to have a conversation between us, like after you're screened, and we can have that conversation later. We usually will not determine it that day. We take all the data and the things that we have gathered from you, as well as what we've noticed when we observed them. And then in the past, we have sent like a little letter saying what we were recommending, and you can ask us questions and all of that. But it just gives us an idea. And then we also let you know like how they did on things, so you can see how your child has done with the assessment. And then things like recommendations for things to work on before school is to start. So that's kind of how the process works. But we do it for both, and it's just for us to get a feel, for us to know how to help you the best, for you to know what we need, or for you to help them before they transition to either young 5s or kindergarten.
Okay, that's good to know, because we're kind of on the fence. So the two. So that answers it.
Yes, I've never met a parent that did young 5s and regretted it, ever. And the 8 years I've taught it, and the years before that, like that, I would hear about young 5s, and then Mrs. Bishop, who's our young 5s teacher, is the same thing. The one thing is that you're giving them a gift, and then you're also, if they end up doing really well, then awesome. Then they're super set up for kindergarten, and then they can keep going. And I mean, I've had students that maybe didn't need young 5s for the academic piece, but more of the social. And so socially, they needed to be able to learn school rules and be with other peers and problem solve and all of that. They needed that, but not necessarily the academics. So we're able to help them continue to grow academically, as well as growing them socially. So sometimes you get one or the other, like very great social skills, academic skills needed. Very great academic skills, social skills needed. But like I've said, literally never met a parent that was like, I regret this. They're all like, I'm so glad we gave them that gift of an extra year.
I think I saw a hand raised. Someone who had a question.
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
I kind of have a two-part question. We have twins, so I was wondering how the lottery works for that. Is there a chance that one of them would be enrolled and the other one not?
Go ahead, Angie.
Okay. So if one of your children gets accepted, remember the sibling preference.
Okay.
So that now your other child's considered a sibling. So not likely that one would get in and not the other one. I would hate to see it's impossible because, it's COVID year. Anything's possible.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay.
I had to throw that in.
No,
But,
yeah, I agree.
yeah, not likely,
Okay.
especially because of sibling preference.
Okay. And then if they were to attend Young Fives, do you have to reapply for kindergarten? Or is
No,
it
that's the
once you're in
beauty.
Young
Once you're
Fives,
in, yep. Once you're in at Knapp, you're a Knapp Charter Academy student. And so they just continue to
Okay.
move up. You don't have to apply every year and worry that you're going to lose your seat. And it's interesting. I'll share this with you. I know it's for kindergarten, but I've been looking over our data. That's my job as the principal, to keep looking over the academics. And every time we see any kind of academic data, students who stay with us for 2 years or more have almost double the growth than the students who haven't stayed. And that's a huge factor. Like, the importance of that stability once you're in and sticking and staying is huge. And I was just looking at the data tonight, and it's again confirmed. Over 2 years, they're almost double the scores. So you want to stay once you're in. Once you meet our teachers, you'll want to stay anyway.
Okay, thank you.
Dale, I saw you unmute. Did you have a question?
No, I guess my question pretty much already got it answered. So thank you, Bill. Thank you very much.
Any other questions you have for us? Well, I'm sure you'll have some later, and that's all right. You can come back and ask. I always get in the car after these things when we go to an event and think, man, I should have asked that. So you still have that chance, just to be a little later. We are really thankful for this time. Nothing, like I said earlier, nothing makes us happier than sharing about what we love to do. And boy, we love teaching students. So thank you for being here tonight. And like I said, we're always available to you. And boy, we look forward to seeing your kid at Knapp. So, all right. Thank you so much. Talk to you later.